How does this
On
flip?
the picture.
How do we flip the fucking camera?
We could always take the picture afterwards.
This is going swimmingly.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, here it is. All right, now you're good.
John, are you able to fix it?
Hey, just so you guys know, we're live right now.
Sweet. What's up? Sorry.
Skip.
Yeah.
What's up, motherfuckers?
So here's the deal with the show today. We got word a couple hours before the show that the phone lines were down. So we're not going to be able to take any phone calls during the show. Now, the reason why I normally post right the first 15, 20 to 25 minutes of the show is because then we start taking phone calls. The problem going live is you can't hear the phone calls. So there's no point in doing it. No phone calls, no problem. Gail's coming in hot. We're live.
What's up, brother?
This guy. What's happening, dude?
Nice shirt.
Thanks, man. Are you wearing the same fucking thing? Tell me you're wearing the same thing. Tell me you're wearing the same thing. God damn it. Yeah. You gotta rock it now.
We are brothers!
See the shit going on right here? I was not anticipating this type of red. This is my inner Carson Wentz coming out right here.
That's good. That's good, healthy girth right there.
It is girthy. Girth is what's important.
Check it out, ladies. He's a healthy man.
I made NFC East Championship shirts.
Yeah.
And uploaded before the last two games and had to take it down before the games. No, seriously. Check out the preview of the 4th and Jawn NFC East Championship shirts that have yet to be released. I've had to take them down the last 2 times.
That's exclusive shit right there.
Exclusive.
That's a YouTube Live exclusive.
That's hot. That's not even pressed yet.
You know what's kind of cool about this right now?
I've got my inner Jack Sparrow going on right now.
Is the fact that they see all the shit right now that's happening before we actually
You mean the shit show before the shit show?
Yeah, the mad scramble. What's up?
Oh shit, we're live.
T minus.
All right. Fuck, I forgot my rock star.
It's gonna be a good show tonight.
No, it's gonna be a sure thing.
What's your favorite drop?
Hold on. It's gonna be. Oh, this is a.
Too fucking easy!
What else we got here? Should we show them the new guys?
Oh, we got freshies.
We got freshies
So
up
you guys are
here.
getting all exclusives tonight. Regroup.
All right, let's regroup here. Let's regroup.
Is Robbie calling in?
Not tonight.
We're all high in here.
Not all of us.
It doesn't matter what you think. We're doing green screen.
Trucks, there's sources saying that you have a story to tell us tonight.
This is Z-Rock's chair, ladies. This is his chair.
I called her Linda.
I call her Linda.
Jesus Christ.
Gotta come in hot.
1 minute, 60 seconds till show. Can you grab that door?
I sure can.
You want to do a soundboard check real quick, or we ain't got time?
Si, senor.
We got New York.
We got time.
New York judges chimed in saying you guys are nothing without home field. All right, Joe.
What's up with Joe?
Who's your coach? Who's your GM? Okay, buddy.
Has anyone seen John's haircut recently? Doug P. Out of
No.
You go straight in.
Anybody got any gum? We'll talk. Take away. Broadcasting from the beautiful new media studios right outside of Philadelphia. Welcome to the 2017 Week 14 edition of the 4th and Jawn podcast. Look, guys, it's been a long time since we've had to march our sorry butts into this studio holding an L. Last time was Week 2 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. They definitely brought their A game and wanted it more. We, however, the Philadelphia Eagles, did not. And I know Eagles fans aren't going to want to hear this. But I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be that guy right now. Maybe it wasn't such a bad thing that the Seattle Seahawks cracked the Philadelphia Eagles in the mouth. Because let's be honest here. Let's face facts. They were feeling themselves. Right? We were feeling them too. Hell, we were enjoying it just as much as they were. But you can get away with sloppy play, poor play calling, conservative play calling, poor clock management, poor execution, overthrowing people, untimely penalties, untimely turnovers, and playing soft in the comfy confines of Lincoln Financial Field against the Bears, the Broncos, the 49ers. But you are not going to win like that on the road against quality playoff teams in the NFC like the Seattle Seahawks. Wake-up call, Philadelphia Eagles. This is your wake-up call. And listen, this team has character. We've been talking about it up and down for the last 9 weeks, how much character that this team has. We've seen it. They've showed it. But character is not measured on how you behave when times were good, when you're steamrolling other teams, when, as Gail puts it, you're curb stomping dudes, all right? Character is measured on how you react and respond to adversity, how you get off the mat after taking an L. This is going to be the ultimate test for the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, there's only you can count the remainder of the games on one hand. We're coming down the home stretch. This is the Kentucky Derby race to the finish. And right now, I misspoke on last week's intro. Through digging through the tiebreakers, the Minnesota Vikings are having the #1 seed. So the Eagles need to, in the next 4 games, figure out how tough they want this road to the Super Bowl to be. Do you want to? They're going to win the division. They're going to the playoffs. By proxy, they're going to win. They're going to have a home playoff game. But do you want to really go on the road in the divisional round and the NFC Championship game if you so get there? Do you want the road to Minneapolis to go through Minneapolis? Man, that's an uphill battle I'm not sure you're ready to do. And Justin put it on the whiteboard last week. That was an excellent point. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do that. But if you're able to take these teams and the road to Minneapolis goes through Philadelphia, you flip the script. And it's something that the Eagles are going to have to prove next week when Gail and I are out in Los Angeles. Speaking of Gail, he came in hot. He's wearing nice shirt, bro.
Hey.
Nice shirt. How you feeling today, Mr. Gail Saunders? Eagle Sessions on
You got
Twitter.
good taste.
I do.
I'm feeling, everybody's feeling a little somber in here, you know? Got that ass back. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, says
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Gail with the quotes.
You know, we got punched in the mouth, but we also shot ourselves in the foot. We had opportunities. I mean, you go up to Seattle, of all places. That's where you curb stomp Seattle in Seattle. That makes a big statement. They could have made a huge statement. They didn't. Now we have to handle all the trolls on Twitter.
Yeah.
But you know, you gotta hold your head up. I mean, I was a little disappointed in some fans out there. A lot of fans out there like folding in the third quarter, giving up. Like, you know, if not everyone played. Like, I play football. You don't give up. It's fourth quarter. You put your hands up, show 4 fingers, and show some heart, man. And I thought the Eagles had a good plan in the second half. The first half is
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
started a little slow.
And the Eagles, you never thought that they were out of it. I mean, obviously, the Seattle Seahawks brought their A game. Russell Wilson was just a magician out there. I mean, you got to tip your hat to the guy.
100%.
He was making plays, curling back around, looking downfield, throwing off of his back foot, throwing on all sorts of weird positions. He was a magician out there. He deserves all the credit from that game that he's got coming to him. You can take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles, and they didn't play their best game. Seattle Seahawks played their A game. Philadelphia Eagles played the what? B? C game?
I was
Tops?
going to say C game, if anything.
C game?
Yeah.
So there's no moral victories, or at least so they say, in a loss. But did you really expect the Philadelphia Eagles to end the season 15-1?
No, that's wishful thinking.
I thought they had a good opportunity to win that game, though. You know.
But you felt like they were in it until like halfway through the fourth, and then you realize, okay, this is out of hand.
I just had a gut feeling that we were going to be 1-1 in the West Coast.
Some of the mistakes. I mean, they've been great in the red zone. That's been their thing. This is the first time all season that they turned the ball over in the red zone. So that's huge. They've been successful in the red zone. They were 0-2 this game, and then the opportunities that they had, you know, they fumbled the ball, and then Alshon Jeffrey had that block, and they settled for a field goal. So I mean, missed opportunities. You definitely got to kick yourself in the foot on that one.
Yeah, it's gun, hold trigger, pointed foot, pull trigger, enjoy. I mean, that's what that game was.
Yeah, and then there's another thing out there. Doug Peterson's he grew up like 100 miles from stadium. Like all his friends were there to see him. And I'm wondering if he was a little tight, a little too stiff. If he was
a little nervous.
Thinking too much, maybe.
I think he was not that aggressive at all compared to what we've seen in the past games. He was aggressive almost right from the get-go.
Yeah,
Beginning of the game. It's just this game he wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, and running our social media today is our friend I Bleed Philly. Michael, how are you?
Doing all right. I mean, we got to say Russell Wilson pretty much had an MVP caliber game.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's now, especially after that, I mean, he's going to be in the running with MVP. He's carrying the Seahawks. Carson Wentz, on the other hand, he didn't have an MVP game whatsoever. Missing that pass on Aguilar. A couple of them. The second one, I mean, we were talking about before the show, that the second one really annoyed us because if he nailed that on a dime, Aguilar probably got a touchdown for that pass too. Then the first pass, he just completely missed a wide open Aguilar. A fumble on the end zone. I think Wentz was riled quite a bit, guys. I mean, we were talking about earlier also that Wentz was also like getting stone. We were used to Stone Cold Wentz. We're used to use Stone Cold Wentz, and then Bennett was really getting his head a little bit, guys.
Yeah.
He was taunting Wentz quite a lot.
Yeah, he was up in his grill.
Yeah, definitely. So I think this is a lesson learning game. Refocus, regroup, and just whoop that ass against the Rams next week.
I agree, 100%. You gotta prove it against the Rams. Now, normally we have you call in at the number that Mike always remembers, and I always forget, even on Twitter, 215-515-2924. However,
You should get that tatted on you while you go on the West Coast.
if they win the Super Bowl, I will get that tatted. I will get that.
215.
I will get it tatted somewhere. You heard it here first. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl, I'm getting the call-in number tatted on like my ankle. So all I gotta do is put my foot up, and I can just raise it up, and I'll know the number from here on in.
Be cool, Trey.
The phones are not working today. The phones are not. Yep.
Yeah, man.
No, that was fine. The phones are not working, so we cannot take your phone calls. However, we can take your Twitter questions. We can answer your tweets, all right? So go heavy on the Twitter questions because that's basically going to take the place of the phone calls today. Also, Mike, if you could do me a favor, throw up a Twitter poll.
You could do that.
Because this is something that I've been thinking on the way in. The answer from me is no. I'm not going to tell you why until we get to the results of the poll. But the Twitter poll is going to be: does this loss to the Seattle Seahawks change your outlook on a potential Eagles Super Bowl run? Because we were talking about it all the 9 games about, we were using the SB word. Now, does this loss kind of cool you down? In other words, does this loss to the Seattle Seahawks change your outlook on the Super Bowl, on the Eagles' chances for a Super Bowl, yes or no? I'll be curious to see the answers. Make sure you time it right so we can get the appropriate response.
Yep.
Working the soundboard today is our buddy Evan Bubblegum Ear. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. I got to be honest. I got to send a message out to the people of Philadelphia, all right?
All right.
The sky is not falling, okay?
Okay, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Because, remember that this team started 10-1, right? They started 10-1. They were the best record. They had the best record in the NFL. They won 9 games in a row. They can't like we said before. They weren't going to go 15-1. It would have been awesome if they did, but it was a pipe dream. It's really hard for some teams to do, and there's a reason why not many NFL teams have been able to go 15-1, 16-0. Admittedly, Carson Wentz had probably his worst game this season, as did Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson wasn't ready, prepared at all.
He wasn't ready.
And his clock management was very Andy Reid-esque. He also, one thing I noticed, Big V was getting torched all game long. He had absolutely no help sent to him whatsoever. Yep. And the one thing that gives me confidence going forward into other games is that the fact that how did Russell Wilson beat us? Think about it. He took what I saw a lot of the game was he was taking 20-yard dropbacks, just like he would get the snap and he would just sprint right backwards. And what he was doing was outrunning our D-line just enough time to be able to find a man downfield. Now, not everyone in the NFL, hardly anybody, has Russell Wilson's wheels, man. So, like, yeah, that's going to be a problem if we play Seattle again, but our D-line is going to be able to contain a slower quarterback.
I mean, they see Jared Goff next year, they're like...
Exactly. That guy's got concrete.
Yeah, when you look at the quarterbacks that the Eagles have lost against,
Yes.
you're talking about Alex Smith, a guy who can throw and can throw on the run and scramble out of the pocket. You take a look at guys like Russell Wilson, who, again, just a magician.
Right.
Just a magician out there. We're not making excuses today. We're tipping our caps to the Seattle Seahawks.
And in the prime of his career, we said, like, what, year 5 now?
I mean,
and
he looked like Michael Vick and Madden, like back when,
Yeah.
like, if you used
The
Michael
04
Vick
version,
over
yeah.
Madden, like,
Yeah.
you were cheating. You can't use him.
Yeah.
And that he's literally that in real life. I mean,
Yes.
he was amazing. I was so interested to see on how our defensive line would, like, how they would do.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I mean, Russell Wilson has been that whole offensive unit. He's been their
He's carried
leading
that team.
rusher. I mean, look at that play. I mean, it was like 3rd and long. He gets rushed out the pocket on the fly. He just pitches the ball like he's been doing this. Like, did they talk about this? Like,
that was all improv, man.
like I went to bed at night. I was like, did Mike Davis and fucking Russell Wilson talk about that? Like, that shit was bothering me all night,
It went too smoothly.
dude. And then Coach Peterson not challenging it. I know it's tough. He doesn't get to see those angles.
There's a lot of
It's just
things.
tough, man.
There's a lot of things to point at in that loss against the Seattle Seahawks. They got outplayed. They got outcoached. They got out-hard. You know, the Seattle Seahawks just simply they just wanted it more. They just wanted it more that game. But I'll agree with you, Evan, that the sky is not falling. I mean, you want to talk about a 24-10 loss. One fumble out of the end zone.
It's a whole different ball game.
And not only that, but one throw in stride to Nelson Aguilar, tie game.
And if Peterson kicks the field goal.
And if Peterson kicks the field goal. Now, you could argue, some people thought in the beginning they should have went for it at midfield. Some people thought a punt was a good idea. Some people thought that, going for it was a good idea. Some people thought that, kicking a field goal would have been a good idea. There was a lot of questions. But in the end, you lost by 14 points. And those 14 points, you can look at 2 specific plays and say, you could have got 7 here, you could have got 7 there. It would have been a tie game. And then if you kick the field goal, which you know he's able to do, he bangs them from long.
That Alshon hold was huge, though.
And the Alshon, you can go back and look over it. But we got beat, and that's okay. You got beat. The sky is not falling. If you were to tell me at this point, at the beginning of the season, that the Philadelphia Eagles would be 10-2, regardless of who they beat or the record of the people that they beat, the teams that they beat, I would have signed up for it all day. If you would have told me that that they would have split on their West Coast trip, I would have signed up for that too. I don't like what I saw on Sunday night. I don't like the heart. I didn't like the coaching. I didn't like the quarterback play. I didn't like the use of the running backs. I didn't like the fact that they didn't take advantage of a broken up secondary, and that in the
Byron Maxwell.
Byron Maxwell is out there. In the first half, they called 19 runs and 13 passes. Now you know me, I'm a guy who pounds the table for the run game. Pounds the table. You got to run the ball to set up the pass. You got to run the rock. I've preached it over and over and over again. But against the Seattle Seahawks, 3/4 of the Legion of Boom are either on injured reserve or sitting on their ass.
I mean, they did get 91 yards. Once they started running, I was like, finally, you run the ball. Like they had 91 yards in the first half. The thing that you were earlier talking about is, targeting Maxwell. I mean, like, Alshon Jeffrey didn't have 1 target in the first half. And then Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I was about to say,
one target.
They were lighting Torrey Smith up, man.
Between those 2 guys, and they only had 1 target.
And not only were they mostly throwing the ball to Torrey Smith, but I feel like they're utilizing them in the wrong way.
5-yard outs.
That's what I'm saying. He's not exactly, Gale. He's a go route guy. He's not a 5-yard out guy.
No, I don't understand that.
So
I would have slandered the fuck out of Maxwell all game. Muscled him out. You know he can't muscle up any big receivers.
And sticking on Torrey Smith, did you guys? You obviously saw the Carson fumble. You know where I'm going with this. You see him? He go for the block instead of the ball.
Yeah, I don't want to kill him for that. I don't want to, because that is such a. Gale's gonna kill him for it.
No, I'm not gonna kill him for it. I was just like, I remember him going for it. I was like, what?
You have to be aware of the situation.
But the situation happened so quick. I can imagine that the first thought in his mind was to the guy nearest to the ball. Like, you got receivers behind him. Keep him away from it, and then maybe the guy behind you will grab it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's such a bang bang reaction. You got literally a 100th of a second to complete a full thought on a play that doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
That's not something. Maybe in Torrey Smith's entire, from Pee-wee on to high school, on to college, onto the pros, that's maybe happened twice in his life.
Wasn't there the screenplay where the ball went behind him and he'd run after it? Remember that earlier in the season? We were all talking about it.
Oh yeah. It's situational awareness. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just 2 times.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna harp on him.
And
Carson's got to get in. Carson's got to get in on it.
I mean, another thing was Jim Schwartz. Let's talk about defense for a sec. Jim Schwartz, there were some questionable calls, like the one that they did 0 blitz. I believe it was 3rd down and long, and then Russell Wilson just dropped back, chugged it down the field, gave the ball, went for a touchdown. Ryan McLeod got completely burnt on that play. There were some questionable calls from Jim Schwartz as well. So
I really wanted him to blitz like in a nickel situation.
Yes.
Nickel cornerback on the left side and have the play zone on the other side just to see what it would do. Like show some more exotic looks. I seen a couple times where they had the wide 9. They had him collapsed in, and then they had Brad coming up the middle, but he was a little bit late, and he had a poor angle, and then Russell Wilson still got outside. I was like, fuck, this motherfucker's gonna kill us all game if they can't get him this way. But he was making some great plays, and then we got they had McKissick, who's a former wide receiver that converted to running back. They moved him out. They must have watched that Theo Riddick tape on Kendricks. Exposed you can expose Kendricks out wide, man. Like he will always bite this inside move. Always. You can look at the Christian McCaffrey. Theo Riddick did it to him 2 times. So that's something to think about. Teams might expose that.
And not only did they get outplayed, I mean, Carson Wentz clearly didn't have his best game from an accuracy standpoint. Although I'll say Carson, he's got a little bit Favre in him. He's got a little bit of. I saw a little Brett. Saw a little Brett Favre in him.
I looked
at that. Did you see that? Yeah. That little scramble out of the pocket and then flip it, and then flip it, and then all of a sudden your butthole gets tight real quick. You're like, don't, and then you're like, do, and then he goes and gets the first down, and then that play where he was rolling out, getting tackled, just launches it down the field.
51 yards, I think it was.
Dude, that was an amazing play.
Talent.
But you can't look at this loss and look at a couple of amazing plays and ignore all the negative facts, including the fact that Doug Peterson just flat out got coached. I mean, when you take a look at the way the Seattle Seahawks attacked the Philadelphia Eagles defense, right? Quick passes, a lot of rub plays. All right, so if you quick passes, rub plays, not only are you nullifying the defensive line and those blitz that Bradham was a little late on, but now you're creating space on some pretty good corners because you're just running through traffic. That 1 touchdown pass at the goal line. That wasn't even a rub play. That wasn't even a pick play. That was just simply, I think it was Baldwin going through traffic. You can't compress that amount of bodies in that amount of space and not have dudes running into each other. The offense knows where they want to go. The defense is guessing. And while the defense is guessing, they're banging into each other.
Baldwin is a solid route runner. He's one of those guys that, quick twitch. And then him and Russell Wilson, those, they're right in each other's head.
They're a good dynamic.
They come into this room and wear the same T-shirt like me and and you know what the other person's gonna do. But yeah, I mean, I love Doug Baldwin. Not this past week, but I love the way Doug Baldwin plays. Though.
It was a loss. You got beat, pretty much in all phases of the game. You didn't play your A game. They did, and despite getting beat. And despite playing poorly, and despite the mistakes and the out-coaching, you still win the game. You didn't get your ass kicked. Like
That's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. What we need is a better sign. Because now you take a look at the playoff picture, and ooh, things have changed a little bit. Change a little bit. Number 1 seed now belongs to the Minnesota Viking. The road to Minneapolis goes through Minneapolis. That is a scary thought. If you think of that Vikings team, and I'll shit on Case Keenum all day, but he is having an outstanding year.
Yeah. Came to 9 in a row.
Yeah, and the thought of going to Minnesota to play in an NFC Championship game where that fan base is going to be frothing because they know in 2 weeks they're playing to have, they might not be at the game, but another home game. How much of that is an advantage for the home team to go into the Super Bowl and go right to their fucking lockers? The familiarity with the freaking with the locker room, with everything that's going on. The moment's going to be less big because they're home. You know what I mean? Number 1 seed would belong to the Vikings. They get a bye. Number 2, your Philadelphia Eagles. They get a bye. Number 3 seed, the Rams, who we play upcoming. 4th seed would be the Saints. 5th seed would be the Seahawks. 6th seed would be the Panthers. Looking from the outside in, you've got the Falcons, who did us absolutely no fucking favors. Thank you very much. You got the Lions, the Packers, and the Cowboys. Before I get back into the top 6, there's one team in there that I do not want to see in the playoffs, whether it be home or away, and that is the Packers. We need them to continue to lose games. We need Aaron Rodgers to start playing some. Because I got a feeling he's coming back regardless.
He is. They said week 15 is the goal that he's coming back.
He's on my fantasy roster, sitting on the IR.
You know who you're playing?
You?
Yeah.
Stingray.
Yeah. The NJ Stingray All-Stars, man. I do not want to see the Packers. They need to continue to lose games. I don't want to see them at Lincoln Financial Field at all. At all. So to sum it up, the Rams would play the Panthers and the Saints would play the Seahawks. Now, our road for the rest of the season, you got the Rams. It's going to be a tough team. It's going to be a home game. We're going out there. We'll touch on it. Then you've got the New York Giants at home. Bad team. Banged up team. However, maybe playing some inspired football. You know, Eli Manning's coming back. McAdoo. I mean, can you imagine what it's like at the New York Giants training complex the day McAdoo and Jerry Reese were fired? They must have been popping champagne and throwing dilly to the pit of misery with you. Dilly.
You know our good friend Cop Pizzle was really happy. Did you guys see his YouTube video?
You know what? Every time I tried to pull it up, it wouldn't load for some reason.
Really?
I've been waiting to see it.
He was going ape shit, man. He really was. He just kept bribing that he wanted McAdoo to do shit out. And Jerry.
When he got fired, like people, because I work right in the middle of, right in the middle of Times Square in Manhattan.
Were they throwing confetti out the windows?
Yeah, like
the war is over.
Like, we won the war. Like people were running around the office, like you know, everyone knows I'm an Eagle fan. Like, yeah, McAdoo's gone. Now we're coming back. I'm like, all right,
Still
relax. You're like, got 2 wins here.
Yeah.
But
I'm happy for you.
But that doesn't mean that New York Giants, you can take them lightly, especially in their house, maybe possibly playing some inspired football, considering that it might be Eli Manning's last year with the team.
Definitely.
Maybe, maybe not. If McAdoo was still there and Jerry Reese was still there, that would definitely be Eli Manning's last year. I don't know if those fences can be mended, but certainly firing Ben McAdoo, I'm gonna miss him. He was fucking Twitter gold.
Yeah, just go find him at your local elementary school.
I think he actually
chilling in a white
changed
van.
his like personal style once he was like killing him on Twitter.
You know what's funny? Like, okay, so Monday I had a live hit with Good Day Philadelphia on Fox 29. Earlier today, I was back on the 700 level show, and they always post up I never know what tweets they're going to pull, but they always like get a good chuckle out of some of the tweets I post. Both of them, whether it was Ben McAdoo swiping his card and getting denied, or the fact that Ben McAdoo, Hugh Jackson, and Adam Gase were all fired, should be fired, probably going to be fired at some point, and then Doug Peterson and 10-2. It's just funny, like, you lose all that Twitter material now. All those, I still got Ben McAdoo looks like the kind of guy jokes saved in my draft that I never got to use. And like it goes to waste now.
Just email it straight to him. Get his email.
Yeah.
Listen, I wanted to drop this.
That's like the White House like firing Sean Spicer. That was fucking comedy gold for all those late night talk shows. and now we don't get McAdoo? Oh, come on. I can't make fun of Spags.
His transformation photos look hilarious. It looks like when you leave your white barber for a black barber. Lined up, the beard's tight, different shades. He had like Harry Potter glasses on before and like feathered back.
Speaking of tight lines and shaving,
Can we shave the beard?
I would be a complete hypocrite if I said that you guys can't shave it. In the beginning, and I can't remember whether it was in group chat or here on this podcast, I remember saying, like, listen, if there's TV appearances, I'm not going out there,
So you're going shirtless right now.
Look at, no, absolutely
Yeah, what's the fucking deal, bro?
Not on YouTube Live. Not on YouTube
Fucking
Live.
deal, bro.
If I gotta do this show fucking shirtless, first of all, I'm gonna be shivering over here like a goddamn chihuahua. Because I am not built for this kind of weather. Second of all cell phones are gonna have to go in a basket and you don't want to look at this. You don't want to look at this all show. So, you know, Mike, if you want to shave the Captain Jack Sparrow thing you're going over there.
Did your family get upset at Thanksgiving about you? You were talking about. He was talking about his grandfather.
Papa Hearn was not too happy with the beard. Although the rest of my family was just shitting on me. Apparently, before I walk in the door, I get because my grandfather, first thing he says to me is, "Oh, it's not that bad. Everyone's saying it looks awful. Go fuck yourself."
It's like he's got a ground wrapped around his chin.
That's a Wolverine beard. That's
It
nice.
is, man. It is. But I just want to clarify. I heard all this correctly. I can take this motherfucker off.
We can take it off.
All right.
First, we might have to take one last picture. So I can like Photoshop you on a box of Lucky Charms. Or something like that.
If there's any listeners out there with a unused machete that they don't have, maybe they could lend to me so I can fucking take this thing off.
Yeah, I can bring in some clippers next show.
Yeah, I don't see how.
You used to do the barber thing.
Shave it. Yeah.
It's gonna be a bigger job than just a regular straight edge.
You got a lot going on.
You're gonna need a weed whacker. All right, getting to the point that I was trying to make. The last 4 games, Los Angeles Rams, tough game. New York Giants, don't sleep on them. You should beat them. You're gonna beat them, but don't sleep on them. They're gonna be playing some inspired football. You got Oakland at home on Thanksgiving, and then New Year's Eve you got Dallas. Realistically, you should win out.
Yep.
You should win out. You should. You should. You better.
If we lose, if we lose against these Rams, then I'm going to be pretty much worried.
I mean,
I'm going to be panicking.
This Ram game is super imperative. I mean, if you don't win this game, because you got to look at the strength of victory wins. Right now we're at 375. Behind us, the Rams are at 407. New Orleans is at 472. Seattle is at 385.
I know Minnesota is like 415 or something like that.
Well,
Minnesota's 467.
We're gonna break it down.
Minnesota's 467 right now.
Yep.
You gotta win this next game.
Yeah, and it's not just the standing aspect of it.
Yeah.
The other aspect is the team morale aspect.
Right.
Like this team has been rolling.
It's huge.
You know what I mean? This team has been rolling, and they've built up this confidence in themselves that they are a Super Bowl caliber team. If you take a shot from 2 Super Bowl caliber teams and you go down in consecutive weeks, that'll really hurt the psyche of the team. You know what I mean? They're going to start to second guess themselves, like, are we really as good as we thought, or is all the noise true? Like, are we just beating the Chargers and Bears and shit like that?
There was a question of peaking too early. You know, that was something that, you know, people or critics are the Eagles, not only haven't they played anybody good, are they peaking too early? Going back to the intro, maybe a loss wasn't such a bad thing in the fact that it refocuses this team, but also, too, you reset the peak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You hit the reset button on that.
And people are talking about the Chiefs, 5-0 at one point in the season. Oh, they're going to go to the Super Bowl. They just lost to the Jets last week.
They've been in a tailspin.
Lost like 6 straight.
Yeah.
They're
6 out of the last 7, I believe.
Yeah, they're 6-6 right now. Yep.
But they're, you know, looking across the NFL, you know, other teams that are 10-2, and you know the pinnacle, like the Patriots, are also 10-2, who've also lost to the Chiefs, and they've also lost to the Panthers. We have lost to the Chiefs, and we lost to now Seattle. But no one's like losing their shit up in New England because they lost 2 games.
People seem to forget that we lost the game, but we were fucking rolling teams a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was like the
it's
point
the
differential
overreaction.
wasn't even close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why I'm saying don't panic is if we're beating teams, regardless of how good they are, by 28, 28-23, you know.
I mean, you just got to regroup. I mean, look, go back to 2015 when we had Chip Kelly and he broke out those 53 Angry Men shirts.
Yeah.
And we went up to New England.
The 53 basic bitches.
53 basic bitches.
Wow, how far we've come.
Right? And they go up there and fucking beat New England Patriots. New England Patriots go on a run in the playoffs, make it to the divisional, the AFC Championship, end up losing to the Broncos who won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't, I mean, one loss is not going to define your season. It's just how you move forward. How do you guys regroup?
How do you bounce back?
Exactly. And listen, a lot can change from now until the end of the season. A lot changed from when we were sitting here last week to now. I mean, you lost home field advantage throughout. You still got a first round bye. You're still the second seed. You're still in the hunt and everything. But a lot can change. We heard Doug Peterson in his post-game rah-rah speeches talk over and over and over again. It was almost cookie cutter. What did we say? We wanted to be 10-1 when we got off that field. And what are we right now?
Those doors. Now you're 10-1.
Yeah, now you're 10-1. All right. We said this week we wanted to be 12-1. Or going over and over and over again. It was almost cookie cutter. That's why Doug needs and this team. You preach that over and over again, and you keep steamrolling teams. Sometimes that message is lost a little bit because, again, you're smelling yourself.
It's like an E-Rock intro.
Explain. Wait, time out. Elaborate.
I'm just saying that we got a new sound on this board from Brandon that was pretty spot on.
It was pretty spot on.
We had the, last week, we had the E-Rock intro competition.
We did.
I think I killed it personally. I hate to bring it
I think I pretty much killed it.
What in the entire fuck are you talking about?
You don't like the Black Preacher E-Rock version?
the Fat Albert version.
We're gonna get to Brennan's audio because it was
comedy gold.
It was strange. We were looking at it. It was like me looking at a mirror. Now he's a thespian by trade. All right, he is an actor. So what he does is. We're going to get into it. Let me make this last friggin' point on the playoffs. All right, so looking at our schedule, I mean, we should win out. We should. Doesn't mean we're going to, but we should. Those are winnable games, especially next week. Even though it's a good team, going to be a friggin' home game. We'll get into that, too. You take a look at the Vikings' remaining schedule. At Carolina versus Cincinnati. At Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers returning. And then versus Chicago. They might win. They might lose a couple of those. You take a look at the Rams' remaining schedule versus Philadelphia, at Seattle, at a surprising 8-win Tennessee Titans team, and then versus San Francisco. They could lose a couple of those games easily. The Seattle Seahawks already beat them. The Philadelphia Eagles beat them too. All of a sudden now they're down 2 games in the cup. Well, things change. The New Orleans Saints at Atlanta versus a New York Jets team. Right? At versus Atlanta. That's weird to have like Atlanta 2 out of the 3 weeks. At Atlanta versus New York Giants versus Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Buccaneers are miserable. They could lose a couple of those. Seahawks at Jacksonville. That's a tough one.
That defense is
Dude.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville is quietly being like, and nobody's talking about them obviously because they're down in Jacksonville and they don't get any media coverage.
Yeah, the defense.
But shit.
Jalen Ramsey and crew.
They are nasty.
They ain't got no quarterback.
Yeah.
Seahawks are at Jacksonville versus the Rams, at Dallas versus Arizona. They could lose a couple of those. You look at the Panthers versus Minnesota versus Green Bay. Jesus, that's brutal. Aaron Rodgers won't be back for that game, but still. Versus Tampa Bay and then at Atlanta. They could lose a couple of those games.
Definitely.
So a lot's going to change from right now to the end of the season. Going back to what you said, Evan, earlier in the show, the sky is not falling, not only for the Philadelphia Eagles, but take a look at the rest of the teams in the NFC that we're going to be competing against for seeding in the playoffs. Their road ain't fucking easy.
Ours is the easiest out of all.
Ours is the easiest. So we're out of excuses.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't gain that top seed back, gain home field advantage throughout, and the road to Minneapolis goes through Philadelphia. Dude, you were kind of out of excuses. A lot can change. And then once you get to the playoffs, listen, there's no guarantee you're winning those games. That's what makes football so great. We can sit here and say that the Kansas City Chiefs through the first 5 weeks, the Super Bowl bound.
Yeah.
What's going on with the Patriots?
Alex Smith was going to be an MVP. Right?
We could say this. We could say, the Eagles. it can change in a blink of an eye. So going back to that Doug Peterson, one game at a time, refocus on that. Because that... Exactly, Doug. Let's regroup. Going back to Brennan's audio.
Yes.
We did have the contest about who could do the best E-Rock impression. We did the everybody in here, including Trox, who's working YouTube right now. We had them do it. Trox might have been the best. Either split between Trox or Evan.
All right, fair
And
enough.
Justin did a pretty serviceable job, but Brennan knocked it completely out of the park. Listen to this. This is longer. He held that note longer. Rasp and everything.
I know.
He even got the boys and girls.
Boys and girls.
He even got the boys and girl. Jesus Christ. The cadence and everything.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Big Gale. Whoop. He's gonna do Mike? Yeah, I love it. Yo, Brennan nailed it. We're gonna leave that open for like one more week. We're gonna leave that one. But man, did he nail it? You were gonna have to do like a phenomenal job. He had the like I can I appreciate
the inflection of your voice and everything, man.
Listen, I appreciate a good impression. I like to do a lot of impressions, and what you have to nail down is the cadence of the speech, and he nailed the cadence of my speech. You have to nail the inflection in the voice,
The pacing,
the rasp. You got you got that in there.
he did, man.
And I got to be honest, a little jealous. He fucking held that first note
He did.
He
longer
nailed
than
it.
I did.
Yeah.
I got a little length envy right now.
Oh,
Not only do I got beard envy, I got length envy.
Need some extends.
So we're going to leave that rolling for one more week. If you can do a better impression of my intro than Brennan, winner is going to get a 4th and Jawn t-shirt sent to them, courtesy of yours truly. Speaking of t-shirts, it is the most frustrating thing in the world. We showed it on YouTube earlier, prior to us going on air. I have the 2017 4th and Jawn NFC East, like Eagles t-shirt, ready to go. I've uploaded it prior to the last, the Dallas Cowboys versus Redskins game. I had it uploaded, had to fucking delete it. And then I had it uploaded right before the Sunday night game, had to fucking delete it.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time, but that shirt will be available for purchase. Hopefully, I'll get around to it like when I'm in LA and we're partying it up and I forget.
Wait till after the game.
Wait till yeah, you know what? Maybe
Maybe that's it.
there's no such thing as sports jinxes.
Fucking geeks, put him in the bed.
Oh, don't put me in the bathroom. I did not mush it. I did not mush it. Speaking of the LA trip, dude, we're going out there with Green Legion. I'm going to be flying in on Thursday. Just to give you a rundown of the details of the festivities going out there, because I'm getting a lot of questions, where you're going to be at, what you're doing, so on and so forth. Thursday night, completely free. Friday, Delia, who, Gail, you fondly remember, because that was kind of the genesis of 4th and Jawn. We're doing those Google handouts.
That's how we all got started.
That's how we all got started. It's a funny thing. Boys and girls,
Full circle.
allow me to tell you a story
Yes.
of how this little podcast was first born. Delia, who you might remember from the Eagles Twitter Awards a couple years back, she would do like live streams on YouTube. And she had a Google Hangout sort of podcast on YouTube that featured her, me, and some other dude. I forget his name. I don't know who he was. But he got a new job where he was working nights and couldn't do it, and Delia was like, do you know a guy? I'm like, do I know a guy? I know a guy wearing the same T-shirt as I am right now, right? And we brought Gail in, and we were like, you know, we got a little bit of a chemistry thing going here. This could turn into something, and that was the genesis of 4th and Jawn. On Friday at noon, we're meeting up at YouTube Studios in Los Angeles to do a massive collaboration project. What it is, I don't know. We don't have anything planned, but it's going to be a way for fans, the Eagles fans, to kind of hang out all in one room. We're going to brainstorm some ideas to get you guys on camera, feature you guys, and also party it up with some West Coast Eagles fans who we normally don't get to see. I hope to see Darius out there.
I'm excited to see the West Coast Eagle fans. I mean, you see a lot of them that have been tweeting stuff to us and just being crazy Eagle fans. I mean, they're not even here, but they bring that level of intensity all the way on the West Coast. They got their own little flavor to it, too, so it's dope to see.
Oh, you're ruining my surprise. Added to the roster this week. You might have seen it on Twitter. Maybe you didn't. Mr. Gale Saunders is going to be with us in Los Angeles. He's going to be out there partying with us. He will be there at YouTube Studios on Friday, partying it up. From there, there's a massive pep rally for the Green Legion Saturday night. I know the team is involved. Don Smolinski, Dave Spadaro, Swoop will be there, as well as a couple Eagles alumni will be partying with us. I have to imagine it would be the individuals who travel with the teams. Probably Mike Quick.
Yeah.
You'd probably talk about Harold Carmichael. Maybe an appearance by Doug Peterson.
Maybe a drum team's not coming out there?
No, drum team's not
Pop's
coming.
not coming?
They're not fitting that bill. Nah. Ma Dukes is going to be out there.
Whoa.
I'm traveling with Ma Dukes.
All right. That's dope.
Listen, Green Legion hooked me up for with the trip. I was like, now I got to fly out there. Hey, Ma, you got the points. You want to come with? Huh? So I got to play for nothing.
Go move. Good.
Listen, it's smart. You can't blame me for trying to save a couple bucks out there. So pep rally on Friday night. You have to get tickets through the Green Legion. Sunday is when it really kicks off. We have rented, or Green Legion rather, has rented Festival Pier. That's a Philadelphia. Santa Monica Pier, historic Santa Monica Pier, the end of Route 66. You've seen it in the postcards. It is absolutely gorgeous. I was there last year, when I got swindled out of $80 by the guys in the green coats for trying to get my medical marijuana. Yeah, that was me.
That was a rookie move, man.
That was a real rookie move. I'm smarter now, though.
You're smarter than that.
I'm a seasoned Santa Monica vet now. So I'm going to be DJing. WIP Morning Show is going to be out there. Hollis Thomas is going to be out there. In-N-Out Burger, a bunch of food trucks. It's going to be an amazing time. We rented out the Ferris wheel. And then, of course, the game. Now, that's the rundown for the festivities in St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
Smoke weed every day.
That's what you get for getting a medical marijuana card right out there. You know what the weird part is? Totally off topic. I was filming with the 700 level, as I previously mentioned. Who the fuck is Mike McVay?
The coach?
That's Sean McVay.
I know, but who the fuck is Mike McVay? Because I've been saying on this podcast for the longest time, Mike McVay. And I'm so convinced that there's somebody out there, because I kept saying it on the show, and we would have to take another take. No, you said Mike McVay again. You said Mike. No, it's Sean McVay. You're right. It's Sean McVay.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, was there some other coach that I'm thinking about that maybe was formerly with the Eagles? Why the fuck do I keep saying Mike McVay? Does anybody know? It does. Yeah, okay. All right. Moving on. Those are the festivities. Okay. Moving on. Those are the festivities in L.A., not St. Louis. But how do you beat these Rams? How do you beat these Rams, Gail?
These Rams, I mean, everyone knows this, they have a good defense, and they're good against the pass, but people don't realize that they're struggling against the run. And that's where, we can run the rock in Philly. Let's hope we can run the rock on the West Coast. I think, another thing with their offense, and draft Twitter, a lot of football heads are excited about McVay and what he does with his offense. Mm-hmm. So basically, he lines up his offense. They get them all it's almost like a no huddle thing. They get up there on the line, and at the last minute, he moves somebody in motion, and then in the headset, McVay calls an audible. So McVay's out there actually calling the plays for Goff.
Really?
like with 10 seconds left on the clock, he's changing the play once he moves the guy in motion, and they do that basically the whole game. So obviously they have to, shut that down. Aaron Donald. A lot of people talk about Aaron Donald. He's like a Fletcher Cox, but even more disruptive. Fast dude, runs about a 4.6 ish for a D tackle.
Damn.
So Wisniewski having problems last game. That's going to be huge.
Do you think they double him up?
They're going to have to do something because we got pressured the most last week against the Seahawks, and we got to do something. Aaron McDonald's going to do some damage, but I think we run the ball down their throats. This is a Giants game.
Yeah,
I believe.
I was saying this at Seahawks too. It should have been a Giants game, in my opinion. And it was working in the first half with the Giants, then we just completely stopped with them.
When we first got Ajayi, when did you guys expect for him to be fully integrated into the offense? Because I got to be honest with you, I expected it to happen already, and I feel like he's not being used enough.
About 3 weeks. I mean, he really has to get about 3 weeks. He has to really get involved in the passing game, and it's not just him running the block.
Blocking.
It's blocking because you look at one of the sacks that was given up last week against the Seahawks. That was on a missed block from Ajayi. So blocking is a huge part of being on the field on third down. So I mean I think, but you still got to incorporate some Ajayi in there, man.
Yeah.
Like he's a guy that can create, and I think against a good defense like this, you got to have a guy that can create.
Yeah.
Last week against the Seattle Seahawks, when I see a team with a winning record, I take a look at their losses, right? And I don't got time to break down tape and all that, but I like to look at the numbers of the losses and see if I can find a common theme. Why did they lose this game? What in the numbers? I mean, if you lay out the chicken bones, what does that say to you? Is there a common thread through all of these losses? And against the Seattle Seahawks, despite how deep I dug, I couldn't find one. Russell Wilson would have a good game, he would have a bad game. Sometimes the running back would go off, sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes Doug Baldwin had over 100 yards, sometimes he didn't. There wasn't any rhyme or reason to it. With the Los Angeles Rams, a little bit different. When they lost against the Vikings, they held Jared Goff to 225 yards and no touchdowns on 37 passing attempts, slinging that rock. More importantly, they held Todd Gurley to 37 yards on the ground and 19 yards receiving. The Minnesota Vikings had 171 yards rushing on 35 rush plays. Now, this wasn't a game where the Rams only had 1 turnover. They were penalized 8 times, but it was for minimal yards. It was like little ticky-tack false start calls. It wasn't any like giant big penalties against them. And he was sacked only twice. So this wasn't a game where necessarily that the Rams shot themselves in the foot. The Vikings won 24-7, quite frankly, because they shut down the run game and they forced Jared Goff to run the rock. More importantly, they bullied them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Vikings bullied
Twisted
the Rams.
their arm into one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When the Vikings played Seattle, Goff was held to 288 yards. Not bad on 47 attempts. That's a lot of attempts. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Gurley had 43 yards and 7 yards receiving. The Rams gave up 5 turnovers, so this, they did some shooting themselves in the foot. But the Seattle Seahawks forced those turnovers. They only had the Rams only had 5 penalties, only sacked twice. So it wasn't like they were getting after the quarterback. It wasn't like the Rams were just committing a lot of penalties. Again, the Seattle Seahawks imposed their way. They bullied them. Yeah. They also lost to the Redskins. I don't want to get in. We beat the Redskins twice, so that's almost. I don't want to get into that game. But what you saw against the Seattle Seahawks is the Eagles did not bully them. They played soft. They played like they didn't want to. They played not to lose. And if you play not to lose, you end up losing. Who's switching to Geico? What is that audio I'm hearing? Who's got a commercial?
Some fucking black guy.
All of a sudden I got switching to Geico. So this is what it's going to be a gut check time. Not only is it a respond game that's going to test your character, but can you oppose your will like those other good NFC teams did against those Rams to pull out a victory in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, when you say oppose your will, I really think you really got to run on them. And last week against the Cardinals, Some people don't even know the guy's name. His name's Kerwin Williams.
On both ends, man.
Jesus.
It's Geico fucking calling. Kerwin Williams for the Cardinals put 97 yards up on this team. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of rushing yards right there. I mean, if you could run on them, like it's all about opposing your will. Like the last couple of weeks, that's what we've been doing. You get back to doing that, start dictating to other teams what you're gonna do. It's a whole different ballgame.
I think you just got to make Goff uncomfortable the whole game. That's pretty much how I'm looking at this point. I mean, he's a pocket passer. He's not going to be a Russell Wilson, what we had to deal with last week. He's going to be a pocket passer. He doesn't run around. If you make him uncomfortable and then you stop the run game, which we've pretty much been doing this whole season, I don't see how we come up with the loss in this. I really don't.
I agree. We've been able to stop, no matter what running back comes in or that we go up against, we've been able to stop. We went up against Jordan Howard, and we were able to hold him to 6 yards. I think if the Eagles are able to just, like, focus on taking Gurley out of the game.
It's amazing what happens when you take him out.
If you take Gurley out of the game, then you're able to isolate, you're able to contain Jared Goff, because, like I said, he doesn't have the wheels that Russell Wilson does. So then you make Robert Woods is going to be out, right?
Yeah, he's on the fence.
He's on the fence.
Realistically, next week, probably he'll be back.
So you're forcing, what you want to do is force Jared Goff to make throws. And let me ask you guys a question real quick. If you had to give a letter grade to Carson Wentz on last week's game, what would you give?
C+.
I was going to say C-. I mean, the first half, it was a real struggle. He was struggling. And then you look at his stats, what he did in the second half, he exploded. That's why his stats came up. He had over 300 yards. He went 29-45 with an 86.2 rating.
That one interception, though, came off of just a junk ball at the end.
It was like just a try. Really.
Yeah, it was just a last-second throw into the end zone. The point I'm trying to get at is that we've got a different Carson Wentz than last year, and that's, blaringly obvious. But, like, the point is that he doesn't, aside from that fumble, he doesn't turn the ball over with any sort of consistency at all. Like, he's very protective of the ball. And when he misses, he doesn't miss into defenders' arms. He misses, you know what I'm saying?
Misses wide open passes.
Yeah, but he keeps it away from defenders.
Well, yes,
you know what I mean?
I mean, the stat that he broke, it was 135 consecutive passes without an interception. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
And that was just on whoever the fuck wants it on the last throw of the game. He could have just held it and it wouldn't have mattered. We were down by 2 touchdowns.
I'm with Gail on it. It's a C+ grade. When I take a look at the fumble in the end zone, stuff like that's going to happen, but you can't let it happen.
Yeah.
When I take a look at the overthrow on a beautiful play-action setup to Nelson Aguilar, was it Nelson Aguilar?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when I think about the underthrow, when there was nothing but Nelly and green grass in front of him, that's 7 right there. So, but also, too, I blame a lot of it on Doug.
Yeah.
Like, you should have been more aggressive. You know what was out there in the defensive backfield. You could have let Carson Wentz open up the playbook. And not for nothing, they came out of the second half, they came out no huddle, right? Which Carson Wentz always starts getting his tempo. He always starts getting his groove. He always starts feeling more confident when they go no huddle. They drove all the way down the field, and then to have that fumble just felt like that was like they just, fuck it. Whatever they thought in the locker room, whatever rah-rah speech, whatever adjustments they made, they come out, they go no huddle, they drive the ball right down the field, fumble it on the one, it's out the back of the end zone, Seattle ball, and that was it.
Do you blame it more on Carson being seemingly a little bit rattled by Seattle's the 12th man, as they call him, or do you blame more of Doug Peterson's lack of game planning?
There was times that Wentz even said that there was times that they were struggling trying to do an audible play and the players couldn't hear him. So, I was going to say I think the 12th man definitely played a toll on it for sure. I just feel like at the same time I think Doug and Wentz, like even Doug said this past press conference, he said that they didn't practice well the whole week before Seattle.
Yeah,
that's on him.
That was double it. I almost wish he didn't say it.
Yeah.
Because that's the more concerning part.
Even Kelsey actually said it too.
Malcolm Jenkins kind of alluded to it. Like, look, if you practiced and you gave it your all this week, you got nothing to worry about.
It raves about practice every week, too.
Yeah, when you've got players echoing a sentiment that should have never been spoken, that the coach made during the post-game press conference, that's concerning. Not only did you lose, now you're going to tell me and your players are going to echo it that they didn't have a good That's what I talk about when you're smelling yourself. Listen, when you're feeling a little overconfident. I love the dancing. I love the electric slide on the sideline. I love the bowling in the end zone. I love the posing for pictures. But if you can't focus during the week, that is a fucking issue.
Yeah.
And you cannot go into the playoffs like that. That's almost the reason why I'm like, hey, good thing. Listen, I would have rather come out of there with a W, but it's not necessarily a bad thing to get smacked in the mouth.
It's the wrong time of the season to catch yourself slipping, man. And it's better that it happened during the regular
but they caught
season.
themselves.
Yes,
I was gonna
they
say
did.
that, yeah.
Well, that's to be determined. If they catch
Yeah.
themselves, that'll be determined on Sunday.
I think what really needs to step up is from Doug is his play calling. It can't get predictable. I don't know if he's like holding some things back. I mean, like he ran shotgun the whole second half. I like to see him run from Carson under center. Remember back in the early parts of the season when you just had Carson under center and you had him giving it to Blunt, just going straight up the field. Like you can't just you got to diverse
The runs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like to run out of shotgun. I mean, that shit gets old, and I feel like teams start keying on what we're doing. I mean, but then like you could get like against Byron Maxwell, you can go basic and just say I'm gonna throw it up. I'm gonna throw a slant. I'm gonna slant you to death all day long.
Because my receivers are better.
Right.
Straight up, they're better.
But I think the one thing is teams are trying to take away Zach Ertz in this offense.
Yeah.
And I think that's
And they did effectively.
I think that's the one thing I see teams are now trying to take Ertz out and make everyone else.
Speaking of Ertz, he might not even play this week.
Yeah, he should be fine.
Take Ertz
Oh, really?
out.
Yeah,
and
he should be
they
fine.
put a spy on Wentz, and that's what did it. They kept an eye on him all game. They contained him.
Evan, earlier you said that this might be the Jay game.
Yes.
I also think that this is the Doug Peterson game. Because this game is not only going to be won.
You think trick play?
Well, no. What I'm saying is, not only is this game going to be won on the field, it's going to be won on the sidelines as well.
Yes.
And Doug Peterson, like he did after the loss against Kansas City, has to have that man in the mirror moment. Like, look, this is going to be on you. It's on you to make sure that these guys are prepared to play. It's on you to make sure that offense is taking advantage of the weaknesses of the defense. It's on you to be aggressive. It's on you to not let the defense dictate what they're going to do to you, but rather you dictate what you're doing to the defense. It's on you to win the time of possession battle. It's on you to take advantage of the matchup. It's on you. And on Jim Schwartz's side of the ball, listen, Goff is a system quarterback. He's a different quarterback under Jeff Fisher than he was under Sean, right? Not Mike, Sean McVay. McVay has implemented a smart, intelligent system that's tailor-suited for Jared Goff. But with that comes tendencies. Gail talked about it earlier. He's calling a play, then he's audibling when the guy's in motion. With all that comes tendencies. You need to take Jared Goff out of this little cradle comfort zone that he's in, having Todd Gurley and having his coach in his ear telling him what plays to run and where to audible. If you give those different defensive looks, because look, they're going to game plan to you. If you give them those different defensive looks and you blitz, whatever it is you have to do, take Jared Goff out of his little baby cradle comfort zone. That's on you. It's going to have everything to do with what goes on with the players. Carson Wentz needs to have a better game. He needs to throw the ball on target. Jay needs to block better. He needs to catch the ball better. Everybody needs to play better. But more importantly than all of that, friggin' Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz have got to coach this team up, get them back on track to get that swag back.
I mean, shutting down Todd Gurley is it. I mean, he's the second leading rusher in the NFL. You shut down Gurley. There's not really much after Gurley. Like they don't have, Austin. Austin has had a down year. They have Cooper Kupp. Sammy Watkins is their deep threat guy. He's averaging like 17 yards a catch. So a lot of his big plays come on like screens or a deep bomb of some sort. But everything really works around that run game. So if you rattle that, then it's like, all right, Jared Goff, you beat us. And Schwartz, I believe he's a seasoned coach. He's a veteran coach. He's got to know what to do to dial up some pressure for Goff.
What I want to know is where was the Doug Peterson that was wanting their players to pull their heads out of their ass. Where was he during practice this week? Because, like, if they had a bad week of practice, it sounds like there was zero, he was feeling himself. They thought that they were riding too high, they'd be able to come in and they could beat anybody. I don't think he had the right amount of pressure.
A little bit of humble pie.
A little bit of humble pie.
And you know what tastes like shit on top of that humble pie? Humble pie don't taste good.
No.
I don't like it.
Humble whipped cream.
Well, the whipped cream, the toppings, were Marcus Smith tweeting after the game, talk that shit, and that last interception, Byron fucking Maxwell. I mean, God. Again, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for this team. We this entire hour, we've been pointing out every flaw that they had during that game, what they should have done better, and why. We got to tip our hats to the Seattle Seahawks, but just having that stacked on top of it, ugh. Boy, that tasted like shit.
But it seems like every troll on Twitter was saving up their
in the drafts, yeah.
So had the drafts wait, and they were ready to let it rip on Eagles Twitter. But hey,
you should have seen my mentions too.
Shit must have been fine.
You should. Well, listen, man. If you're gonna check out on this team after, and I don't want to hear the fucking excuse of, like, look, I'm just emotional during the game. If you're gonna tweet at me during the game, I'm tired of putting stock in this team because they always let me down. When your team's 10-2 right now and they're making a playoff run, and they've had the top of the NFC, and I have every confidence in the world that they'll get back there. Like, just fucking unfollow me. I've got zero time and zero tolerance for that shit. Don't check out just because they lost to the Seahawks.
Those are sky is falling people, man.
And it's over, and I heard it on sports. It's overreaction Monday. Mm-hmm. Oh, we can't beat anybody good. Here we go again. Stuff like that. Listen.
Some people, I'm like, dude, are you really an Eagles fan? Like, you follow this team so closely, but you hate some player. Like, you just hate a lot of things. But why do you watch the Eagles, bro?
It's self-loathing. I don't get it.
I've had the best time of my life as an Eagles fan this season.
Yeah.
It's been a long time to feel this way, and I feel like confident and feel like what I'm seeing on the field is what I'm actually thinking. And to see it come together in a big, nice Thanksgiving meal. You got Aguilar, the cranberry sauce. You know, the big. It's like a great meal. Like, everybody is bringing something to the table. See, that's where I'm going.
I got you. Okay.
And to see it all come together. Aguilar.
Cragular.
Who's the jive-ass turkey?
No, but listen, that's why I'm so anxious to go out there, and Gail touched on it earlier. I'm so anxious to go out there and see these West Coast Eagles fans. Because not only do the Eagles fans travel well, man, they've got people all over the place. And every time you see one of those West Coasters come east, boy, and they're just looking at Lincoln Financial Field in the parking lot, and they've just got a twinkle in their eye like it's Christmas morning. And they don't get to see their Eagles often. Yeah. And when they come out west, it's like a holiday for them. I know they're going to be passionate. I know they're going to be on fire. I know they're going to be revved up, and they're going to do everything in their power, including us with the Green Legion, to turn that stadium into a home game. And Sean, not Mike McVay, might want to start using a silent count. Because it is you think what we did to the Chargers was impressive? That stadium only seats about 30,000 folks. I know the Rose Bowl seats about 90,000. Again, I expect it to be a 70-30 split. So I'm not going to do the math, but you do the math, and you tell me how many Eagles fans that stadium for the first time might sell out. For an NFL home game this year.
Would be absolutely
Even Sean
insane.
McVay even said he's preparing for this game for the silent snap count. He said it in his press conference today. He said he's preparing for that.
Is it possible that there's more Eagles fans there than in an Eagles
100%.
game? You
Oh,
know what
yeah.
I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
if they could
bet
seat
my paycheck
90,000.
I'll bet my paycheck.
That is crazy.
It'll be a home away game.
Right.
Exactly. It's going to be nuts. And West Coast Eagles fans, I love you, but as I come out to the West Coast, just a couple pieces of advice, all right? There's two things that drove me nuts watching the Chargers game. First of all, Nobody in Philadelphia goes, let's go, Eagles. Love the passion, love the energy, love the fact that you were all able to do it in unison, but let's get the E-A-G-L-E-S. It's not a Flyers game.
That's a baseball chant.
Yeah, that's a baseball chant. I know you guys got the Dodgers out there. We're going to work on that. We'll help us Philadelphia folk, we'll help coach you up on that. Number 2, shut the fuck up when the offense is on the field. All right? Shush when the offense is on the field. That kind of struck me when we were down there in Washington for week 1. How noisy they were. Like, after a big play, you cheer, they break the huddle, shut the fuck up. You should be able to hear a guy fart 20 rows down from you while that offense lines up for the snap. I should be able to hear kill, kill, kill all the way up in 226 and 225 where my season tickets are. It should be quiet as a church in there as that offense is running. So cheer, then shut the fuck up. We're going to teach you how to do a proper Eagles chant.
We should do a post, proper etiquette when the Eagles are playing.
It was sort of weird because you never see a stadium taken over like that, and it's not the local fans. But again, I love the passion. I love the energy. That's why we're coming out. We're gonna coach you up on this stuff. We're gonna pull a Dougie P. All right. We're gonna put some loving on you, and we're gonna get you focused on what you got to do to get a W versus the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to the Bakersfield Eagles group on Facebook.
They
added me into their group. A lot of diehard Eagle fans, man. Mm-hmm. The Bakersfield group. They'll be partying up in lot 6. Is that where it's at?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I believe lot 6.
I'm going to be with the Green Legion, unfortunately. Which is why, listen, take advantage of this YouTube thing on Friday. Because that's going to be like the big chunk of free time I have to go and then just meet people and do videos with you and everything like that. I love the Cali Eagles fans. They are so passionate. They're my people. They're my people. I can't wait to be out on Venice Beach.
You teach them how to do Eagles chants. They tell you how to get a medical card without getting scared.
Without getting
even trade.
Yeah, it's one hand washes the other.
Exactly.
I love it. All right, let's get, we were rolling through it. Let's get to the Twitter questions with Mike, sir. Fire away.
Do it with our first question from our good friend Big Shirley. He says, "What will Zomp ever just shut the fuck up on Twitter?"
That is an excellent question.
That's a no.
I don't think it will ever happen. Wait, but I love the Zompster.
He's a man of many opinions, and he's not afraid to share them.
Listen, the Zompster told you guys, all right? I told you guys not to get too excited. Y'all started talking about the Super Bowl word, okay? And I told you it was a jinx. It's reverse psychology. You start talking about Super Bowl, it's going to call you. You should have listened to the Zompster when you had the chance. But no, here we are. And at the end of the season, you're going to see once again that the Zompster is right and the Eagles are not going to win the Super Bowl. Listen, Zomp, you've been right since 1960. We haven't won a championship since then. Will the Zompster ever shut up? Part of me hopes so. Part of me knows it's never going to happen. And part of me doesn't want to because it's way too much fun to make those fake Zomp videos on Twitter.
All right, we got another question from Shirley. This is part 2. He said, in a serious note, do you see the front four specifically responding after Wilson running wild last game?
Ooh, they're going to be playing angry.
I mean, I think, Brant Graham had a great game last week.
So
Barnett, he almost broke Wilson. When he hit Wilson, I was like,
crippled.
This motherfucker got up.
He can do everything.
I mean, Jared Goff is no Russell Wilson. They've got to rattle him. I think that's going to happen.
You start getting into that guy's head. You start taking him out of his system, out of that little baby cradle. Listen, I know the defense wants to tee off. You have to be hungry after taking an L like that. And just to touch on what you said about Brandon Graham, isn't it interesting, like a side storyline that got buried underneath so many other storylines? How many years have we said we should have taken Earl Thomas over Brandon Graham? Listen, guilty as fuck sitting right here. The Earl Thomas, Brandon Graham debate. Brandon Graham's got 8 sacks right now.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who never puts up like huge numbers, but is always hustling. I'm wrong on Brandon. I've been wrong on Brandon Graham for the first 4 years of his career. But now all of a sudden you look at it, and yeah, Earl Thomas is a quality safety. I don't know where this defense or defensive line more specifically would be without 55 in there.
I think honestly, we were just talking about it a minute ago. We were talking about how Jared Goff has McVay in his ear before the play to tell him what audible to call. Well, how mentally strong does that show how Jared Goff is? Like it's not his brain that's working the game; it's the coaches. So if you go into Jared Goff's house and overload him with Eagles fans, I think he's going to be rattled. I think he's going to be a little bit shaken.
But it is interesting to see the difference between, poor coaching and really offensive-minded football.
Yeah.
Like the difference between Jeff Fisher, who's been in the league forever but gets a shot every season to coach, and then McVay comes in here and implements his system more suiting to Goff, and he looks like a completely different player.
Mm-hmm.
So it really tells you what systems marrying to the players, how important that is. But yeah.
Carson Wentz is not a product of the system. Carson Wentz is a product of Carson Wentz.
He's an elite player.
Jared Goff is a product of the system.
Yes.
We have 2 sample sizes with Jeff Fisher and with Sean, not Mike McVay, all right, to where we can see the difference. Take him out of his system, let that defensive line tee off on him. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We were also talking about Brant Graham a second ago. Did you guys hear that Brant Graham is resisting signing a new extension with the Eagles?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about that at all?
No, I did not.
Pro Football Talk, they said their sources are saying that Brant Graham has been pushing back on the efforts to ink him a new contract for extending him for a few more years. So he might want to get more money.
How long is he currently on the contract?
Why not?
It's till 2018. He says earning $6.5 million in salary this year. Next year he'll be due $6.75 million.
And then he'll also be 31 years old when the contract
But then you
comes up.
sign a contract early. At the end of the season, he gets. What if he racks up like 10 sacks?
This
and
is
then
true. This is true.
For each one of those sacks is some extra cash. So I'm gonna wait. He's already a millionaire.
Are you worried though that he might leave though for free agency?
Not worried.
No.
Not worried.
All right.
We don't have to worry about that. Not even going into next season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got him locked under another year.
Yeah, we got him locked under another year. There's a lot that can happen from now until then, and he's never struck me as just like he hustles on the field, but he doesn't get the numbers all the time. I think Howie Roseman in this front office, if you prove it, will reward you.
Yeah, speaking of how, we freaking extended Alshon Jeffrey.
Justin just put up a sign that says he wants Vernon money.
17
That better not
season?
happen.
Yeah, okay.
That's a bit steep.
No way.
That's a bit fucking steep.
Yeah,
No
well,
way.
well, maybe that's why they drafted Barnett in the first round. If that's the money you want, deuces.
By the way, Derek Barnett has 5 sacks. I predicted 8. So I mean, that's money for a rookie to come in, get 5 sacks.
You got another free agency period. You got another draft coming up. You have a lot of time to decide what you want to do with Brandon Graham. And you said it. When he signs that extension, he's going to be on the wrong side of 30.
Right.
So, there you go.
All right, I got another question from our good friend Lacey. She says, there's been a lot of hate surrounding who to blame for a loss. What are your personal takes on that? Who do you mostly blame on Sunday?
Doug.
I go Doug, and I'm gonna go Carson Wentz.
Yeah. I go 60-40. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Wentz, you're the quarterback of the team. You quarterback, you got to take the hit on the chin if you are not playing up to your, skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz missed a couple plays.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we talked about the overthrow, the underthrow, and the fumble out the end zone. Those are 3 plays that you can specifically look at Carson Wentz and be like, dude, the fuck.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson missed a lot more plays than just 3.
Yep.
I mean, that offensive game plan in the entire first half was garbage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Carson Wentz, listen, I'm not going to be a Carson Wentz apologist. He's got to play better. He's got to make those throws. He's got to complete those passes. He's got to move the ball down the field, and he's got to get in the end zone without fumbling the ball. But, Doug, it's on you.
Get that playbook right.
Get that playbook right. Get that offensive game plan right. And for the love of fucking God, get your players' minds right. Get your head out of your ass.
Got another question from at that guy. He says, which NFC team are you most worried about facing in the playoffs?
The Vikings.
Vikings?
The Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Mine's the Saints.
Why?
The Kamara, Drew Brees, and
Kamara's
Ingram
beast.
are a problem. And that defense is showing up as well this year. I just feel the Saints are
Kamara's
going to
a
be
hell
our
of a
biggest
third-round
issue.
pick, man.
Yeah, I did a video with Braxton Howard, one of the writers at 4th and Jawn. He put his biggest threats, and he came down with the Saints, and I kind of agreed with him in the sense that you don't want to see a seasoned veteran quarterback in the playoffs like Drew Brees. Got a quick release, one of the quickest releases. He has a screen game out the ass with Kamara, and has a running game with Mark Ingram. And if they play defense, you don't want to get a shootout with Drew Brees. I think the Vikings are beatable. Case Keenum is.
Yeah,
It's good defense.
The defense is pretty good, man.
But our defense is pretty good too.
And no concerns about maybe the Seattle Seahawks, who we just lost to in the playoffs.
I just hope we don't play them.
Those fucking Russell Wilson, who just literally put on a magic show against us on Sunday Night Football. No worries.
At the link. If they're at the link,
Listen, you bring the Panthers to the link, you bring the Seahawks to the link, bring the Rams, especially the Rams, to the link. I think it's between the Saints and the Vikings. I don't. If we were to go to the NFC Championship game, I do not want to play that game in fucking Minnesota.
No, man.
I do not want to play that. Yeah, that's just too familiar and too much to overcome against a good defense. Forget it. Ugh. But I agree with everything you said with the Saints, though.
Okay, that works. All right, we got another question. We got another question from @JerseyGirl21. She says, "What is your biggest Twitter pet peeve?"
Ooh.
I still have to think about this one.
Yeah. Biggest Twitter pet peeve. Anybody want to go before I go on a little tangent?
Tangent away, man.
Biggest Twitter pet peeve is probably when do you get this, Gail? Like when people like tweet you their tweets in the DMs, like people send you a DM with just their tweet.
I get those.
Like what the fuck? Yeah. What the fuck am I supposed to do with it?
Can't you just help retweet to spread the word or shit like that? I'm like, okay.
I would say it's people in the DMs. I got enough problem keeping track of my notifications. I would say it's the people in the DMs who send me their tweets and are like, hey, can you retweet this? There's sometimes where I'll do it. Philly Team Store always asks me for a retweet and stuff like that. Whatever, I'll help you out, local business, whatever. But just the real random, like, bad memes that, like, people will ask you to retweet. Yeah. The other thing, too, is, like, people will come into DMs and be like, hey, man, there's this Cowboys fan talking so much shit. Man, you should tell him what's up. And I check, like, the follower count. The Cowboys fans got, like, 25 followers. Like, why would I even engage? Yeah. Why would I even engage in that kind of, you know how the conversation is going to turn out. Yeah. I'm sure my followers don't want to see me arguing back and forth with people.
Or like people on Twitter going back with like there's some tweets I say like months ago and then they recently search your tweet and be like,
really?
Oh, I was right.
That bothers you? Really?
Yeah, I get that quite a damn bit.
Do you?
It's annoying as hell.
When people want to pull up old tweets from hot take when these
freezing cold takes
when these fake football analysts who put NFL at the end of their name to make them sound a little better and are hot take machines because they keep retweeting Pro Football Focus stats and come out with so many hot takes that they're wrong on 70% of them. Oh, but the one they were right. They're gonna go back in January and pull up your old shit and say, "See, I told you so." Listen, if that's it, everybody's got their Twitter niche, right? If that's your game. Where you're the analyst, you want to be a Kean or you want to be that Fahey jerk off, Kean Fahey jerk off, where you sit there and be a self-proclaimed quarterback guru. You don't watch the games, you just look at the actual numbers, and you want to spit out hot takes. Fucking stick to that. But if you want to come to me and start talking shit about how you were right back in January on a Nelson Aguilar take. When everybody was down on Nelson Aguilar, but you were the smartest guy in the room, and you want to come in with a snarky-ass comment and talk shit, now you're in my wheelhouse, motherfucker.
Oh.
So you better slow your roll.
Hey,
start back.
Just went flying there.
Sorry, I'm spitting fire right. I got a little rattle today. I got a little rattle today.
Fire.
All right, Gail, what's your Twitter pet peeve?
Mine's out of left field.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I just feel like when people just get out of line and like attack people for no reason. It just doesn't like
getting worked up over nothing.
Just some people, I feel like some people are actually really bipolar and don't fucking realize it.
So you're talking about like be specific, like talking about during not who, but like during the game,
just
the
bipolar
negativity.
Tweets. Like some people are fucking bipolar and don't realize that they're fucking crazy sometimes with their tweets. And then when people come at them, you know, you just gotta. Just the timeline can get crazy sometimes, and people don't realize what they're actually saying.
Especially Eagles Twitter.
You ain't kidding.
I forget whether it was Chizzy or somebody tweeted early on Monday morning. So what time do we all start arguing? And it was like not now o'clock. It's now o'clock.
Let's fucking go.
I don't think there's another listen. I don't check in on Giants Twitter. I don't check in on Redskins Twitter, Dallas Cowboys Twitter. But I don't think there's a fan base that argues more internally than the Eagles. And that's passion right there.
Yeah. Broken family.
You know one guy,
Dysfunctional
Rico
family.
on Twitter. Rico, the Cowboys fan on Twitter.
He's a fucking jerk off.
That's Tommy's fucking boys.
Oh my God, he was going nuts after we lost Sunday night.
I
Pissed
love
me
Rigo
off.
for this reason and this reason only. Anytime Rigo tweets you with some fucking bullshit anti-Eagles tweet, you can go back and search keywords that it's the same thing that they were saying last year about the Cowboys. So if he gives you some shit take about the Eagles and how well they're doing right now, go back and it's the same fucking thing how he was puffing. And you can screenshot them. I have a new thing on Twitter. I love the 4-picture story timeline. I also love a brief story by Rigo. And it's something where he tweeted anti-Eagles, and it's the same fucking thing that he said that was pro-Cowboys. Feel free to do that at home. I'm sure it drives him nuts.
Yes.
All right, we got another question from No One Like D. Our boy DC Darrell. He says, if we were due for a humbling loss on a 9-game win streak, do you think the Vikings are due for a regular season or playoff loss soon?
I think
It has to happen.
I mean, if
if you want to get first round.
I mean, if you get Aaron Rodgers back,
Yeah.
he's been dying to play.
Yeah.
If you catch an L from them.
I think their loss is at Carolina. I think they're going to lose to the Panthers Sunday. I just have that feeling that Carolina is going to come up and just, they're at home. I just feel like they're going to rattle Case Keenum on Sunday.
Since he's sticking it to the Steelers last night.
Yeah.
That was a rough
That was a
game to
crazy
watch.
game.
That was a crazy game. Not only from the penalty standpoint, how did you notice when that game ended? It was like midnight.
Yeah.
Because there was so many delays and stuff like
Well,
that.
that's Shazier.
And
God
prayers
bless,
up
man.
to Ryan
Seriously.
Shazier. No, listen, it is a harsh reminder of how difficult or how dangerous, rather, this game can be. And no matter how you tweak the rules and make it safer for players, shit like that is going to happen.
Yeah.
There was nothing dirty about it. It was a routine tackle. And, he had a spinal cord contusion. And I'm not a fucking doctor, but that don't sound too good.
No, we need 2 fucking AZ in here to evaluate that.
Yeah, we need Dr. Duncan.
He's gonna be all right though, right?
They're waiting for the swelling to go down.
I read that within the next 24 to 48 hours is the crucial time as to whether he's going to get movement back in his legs or not.
That's
a scary fucking thing, man.
Yeah,
you're out there, he's trying to get his team 1 step closer to the Super Bowl, and then he leaves. He might not even fucking walk again, man. That is.
I mean, that's the reality.
That's
People,
heavy,
bro. Fans out here are bitching about a player trying to get extra money.
Yeah.
It's a violent game.
Yeah.
And if you've never played football before, you're really putting your life on the line for some fucking entertainment for some douchebag on a couch who doesn't even appreciate what the fuck you're doing. So
Unpopular take.
Yeah.
I had no problem with the Juju Schuster.
hell no.
I had no problem with the
Yeah,
Juju.
shit,
Everybody
I love
was talking about there's no place in the game for that. The announcers are going nuts, and we can't have this in the game. I'm like, the Burfict was eyeing up the running back. He had to block somebody.
Yeah.
And that was the closest guy who was
He
going to
jacked
make the
him up.
tackle.
If you're
Not only did he jack him up,
Stood over.
but all of a sudden you see that's number 55 on the ground.
What's up,
Shit.
motherfucker?
Yeah, I might have done the
Yeah,
same exact
exactly.
thing. I just laid out this guy.
Yeah.
I just laid out. You guarantee I'm
Fucking
standing
string
over.
bean just
I-
laid him out.
He's a known offender. who's
asshole.
knocking people out.
He's a known asshole.
He's like Ndamukong Suh.
I mean,
he's just an asshole.
I mean, in my office, I have a blown up photo of Chuck Bednarik standing over a knocked out. What's his name?
Frank
Gifford.
Yep.
So, I mean, I was like, yeah, that's
I know it's an unpopular take, and some people will agree
And
with
Juju
me.
got
I
suspended.
had
One game.
no problem with that hit, and yeah, it might have been taunting, but sometimes there's a time and a place for it. You better take those opportunities because they are rare.
Totally worth
I mean, after Shazier went down, it was like a weird thing with the injuries.
vibe.
So,
Yeah.
for him to stand above, that was just kind of a time was for. But if it's on another different stage,
Oh, rookie wide receiver laying out that big boy.
awesome, bro. I
Yeah,
thought it was awesome.
good for them.
All right, since we have 4 minutes left, we're going to do the Twitter poll. And then the Twitter poll was, does the loss to the Seahawks change your outlook on the Eagles' chances for the Super Bowl?
And then I want everybody in the room to answer.
78% of people say no. And I totally agree with them. If we lose to the Rams, then it's a complete different story.
We're having a different Twitter poll next week if we lose to the Rams. But you go ahead and you beat those Rams. All right, listen. Again, if you were to tell me in the beginning of the season, at this point, the Eagles would be 10-2, I'd sign up for that all day, every day. If you were to tell me that going out to the West Coast, the last 5 games of the season, this West Coast trips, that you were going to split it, and I prefer you lose against the Seahawks rather than the Rams because I feel like those, for seeding purposes, are going to be more important, I would have signed up for that too. So nobody in this room likes what happened during the Seahawks game. But I don't think that really should deter us based off of the sample size of the other games that they gave us. That should deter you from thinking that this team is anything other than what they are, and that is a 10-2 team.
I mean, I'm going to say no. I mean, obviously, I'm fucking flying out there to see this game and see it in person. This is the kind of game you can't just sit back on the couch. You just want to do the backstroke in it. I think this is so important for this team to, like, actually get over this hump and show what kind of team they are. I think, sky's the limit still. I still think after all these games that we've watched this season, we have yet to see a perfect game from this team. And we're 10-2.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So if this team puts it together perfectly, it doesn't normally happen every week, but hey, sky's the limit.
Yeah, I completely agree, Gil. I don't think I opened up the show saying the sky is not falling. And that's exactly how I feel. If, like you said, if they come out and they come out slow against the Rams and they lose that game, then I'm gonna get a little trepidation. But as of right now, I mean, like you said, we've got enough of a sample size. We have absolutely been rolling teams. Just one loss is not going to convince me that we're not the team I've been seeing all season long.
Man up, man. Man up. What's the fucking feeling?
We're 10-2. Right. Just relax.
Shit happens.
Take it out.
Yeah. just relax.
Yeah. And I'm going to say it again as I said it in the intro. All right? Character is not... This team has character. They've shown it all season. But character is not defined on how you behave when times are good, when you're blowing teams out, when you're celebrating in the end zone. Character is measured about how you react and respond to adversity and how you get off the mat after you take an L and get knocked down. So let's teach these LA fans a little something about an Eagles chair. E-A-L-E. Oh, fuck!